What's up, guys? We are back with Friday college basketball action here on January 24th. We're breaking down 10 games today, looking at leans against the spread and the over-under here as NCAA basketball is in full swing. Not very many games on that NBA slate, guys, so that's why we're jumping over here for some college basketball. Also, not very many games completed out there, so once again, not going to have too much of a recap, though. I'll obviously have the games over here up on the screen. You know, the ones we took yesterday, we'll see how they do. Things are looking okay. We did not get what we were expecting to get with Orlando there. Franz Wagner did come back. He played well, but Paolo Banchero looked horrible, 1 of 14 or something like that from the field. So that one was a loss, but we do have a pretty good spot brewing here for Denver. They're up by 16 points at home, and Milwaukee's up big against the Miami Heat. So looks like we should be en route to hopefully a winning day out there. So to celebrate that winning day, guys, I would really appreciate it if you clicked that thumbs up button, give this video a like. It helps the channel a ton, helps get these videos promoted to more people out there. I would also love it if you would subscribe to the channel. We've been doing a great job here building up subscribers lately. That's been really, really cool to see that love, after coming back from, that YouTube imposed absence there. So guys, I really appreciate everybody that's been out there watching these videos. And if you are a big time supporter, guys, you can also sign up for a channel membership to get early access to all of my videos every single night. And you get your name on screen in every single video, just like right now. I really appreciate everybody out there. Big shout out to the channel members. All of our videos, guys, are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of professional cappers over there who are putting in work every single day, covering all the major sports. We've got NFL, NCAA basketball, NBA, UFC, all going on right now. Also, NHL has been on a sick run, so this is a great time to sign up for maximum bang for your buck. You can just click the link down in the description. It'll take you right over to StumpTheSpread.com. And guys, if you're not really ready to sign up for a premium membership right off the bat, definitely sign up for our free email newsletter, guys. It's just free information. We'll give you updates on our results of our premium picks and stuff like that, but we will also give you free picks straight to your inbox. So some of these games, if there's a free NBA pick, I'm doing a college basketball video today. You guys won't see that unless you're going to Stump the Spread to check the free picks tab, or if you're signed up for that email list. So definitely sign up for that. Like I said, it's just free information. Also, guys, get in the comments. Let me know any bets you're looking at today. I'll give you my best advice on all of them. I personally respond to every single comment every day. I'm more than happy to always get back to you. Guys, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below for today. So now let's get into our first game out there. We've got a pretty interesting one. We've got Toledo going on the road to take on Bowling Green. We've got big games, though, coming up. So right now, looking at the Toledo Rockets going on the road to take on the Bowling Green Falcons, guys. Toledo comes into this game in a little bit of a bounce back spot after a tough loss against Kent State. Obviously, guys, Kent State, in Toledo, supposed to be kind of at the same level here with these teams, very close there in the MAC standings, but didn't look like in that one, guys. A 19-point loss there for the Toledo Rockets. This has been an interesting team. They've been a little bit up and down lately. I mean, they lost at Akron, then went on the road and got a nice win against Ball State. Then they followed up with kind of laying an egg there, playing at home against Kent State. So not what we normally expect to see from them. I mean, Sonny Wilson continues to be a monster, 15.2 points per game, 3.5 assists. He's shooting over 50% from the field, so a lot of positive stuff there. In this game, though, against Kent State, it did not exactly look like that. I mean, we saw good stuff there from Simons. He played well. Sonny Wilson did play well. Pretty efficient night. Not a great three-point shooter, and not just a great three-point shooting night at all from Toledo. There were only 2 of 10 from deep. So not a team that gets up a ton of threes. That's definitely a bit of a concern. I mean, obviously, you need to be shooting threes when you're playing basketball. That's kind of just the way things are going right now. Overall this season, they're a pretty weak rebounding team. Their offensive numbers are good. They're good. They're not necessarily elite, but they're definitely reasonable. Their defense, though, pretty suspect. So Toledo, not necessarily my favorite team, but also, I will say, not my least favorite team out there. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Bowling Green Falcons, who are 7-11 on the year. They come into this game fresh off of a tough road loss there at Miami of Ohio. They lost that game by 8 points. And I mean, Miami of Ohio, they're the best team out there in the MAC. They're 6-0 in MAC play so far, so not a whole lot of shame in losing that one, but losing 68-62 at home against Eastern Michigan, that doesn't look amazing either. Eastern Michigan 3-3 on the season, in conference play, and 9-9 on the season overall. So not super high in what we're seeing from Bowling Green. Marcus Johnson is a monster, averaging 16.1 points per game. This is a top 100 offense in the NCAA technically, but their rebounding numbers are really, really bad. Their assist numbers are pretty terrible as well, and they're another team, guys, that just doesn't really play very much defense. So not in love with what we're seeing from either one of these teams defensively, and not really in love with what we saw from the Falcons last time out. So looking at the numbers here, we see Bowling Green, they're getting 2.5 points at home. We've got a total of 150. 59.5. Toledo 9-8 against spread, 9-8 to the over. Bowling Green 9-8-1 against spread, and 9-9 to that over under. So guys, in general, you could talk me into the over in this game for sure. Plenty of offense, neither defense plays very well, blah blah, but it's way too big of a number for me to get super jazzed up about that. I think the value play on this game, guys, is go ahead and take Toledo here on the road. I think they're the better team. They're in a bounce back spot after a terrible, terrible loss. I think by the end of the season, we're going to see Toledo being, clearly in the top half of the MAC, and I do think we're going to see Bowling Green probably be in the bottom half. So go ahead and give me Toledo here at -2.5. Will this go in the pinned comment? I'm not 100% sure yet, guys. I think we might have better options here down the road, but I do think there's some solid value there on the Rockets. Next up, guys, we've got one of our marquee matchups of the game. We've got the Villanova Wildcats going on the road to take on number 10 Marquette in a Big East showdown. Villanova 12-8 on the season, not really having a great year. They've actually lost 3 out of their last 4, losing at St. John's, at Xavier, getting a very close 2-point win against Providence, and then losing straight up 64-63 against Georgetown. So you could say they're in a bounce back spot. I mean, they are playing on the road again, so that's not great. They've got a big opponent coming up in a game against Creighton, so not a lot of things pointed in like the perfect direction for this Villanova team. They've been a weird group this season. I mean, they're very much built around the success here of Eric Dixon. He's averaging nearly 25 points per game, shooting nearly 50% from the field. That's all great, but you're not going to win very many basketball games, guys, if you score 25 points as a team. That's not how this works. It's a team game. It's a team sport. I mean, a 64-63 loss against Georgetown. Not like the Georgetown Hoyas are an amazing team. They're 500 there in conference play. Cool, we see Dixon put up 29 points. That's great, dog. Your team still lost despite shooting 40% from three-point range. Like, that's not how this is supposed to work. They also had a big rebounding edge. They turned the ball over quite a bit, 16 times against only 8 turnovers there from Georgetown. So Villanova, not necessarily one of my favorite teams, not playing amazing right now. Their rebounding numbers, very concerning. Their defense is okay. Their offense can be fine, but it's very, very much dependent on Eric Dixon having a huge day. And then some other people, somehow kind of magically chipping in. So we'll see what they can get done here going on the road to take on a very tough opponent in the Marquette Golden Eagles. Marquette 16-3 on the season, clearly deserving of their top 10 ranking. They're coming off of a blowout win there against Seton Hall. I mean, I guess it wasn't a massive blowout, 17 points. So, clearly getting the job done, and they needed it after a, tough loss, a 2-point loss there at home against Xavier. So we've liked what we've seen in general from Marquette. They're 7-1 in Big East play. Not that the Big East is really lighting the world on fire right now, guys. I'm not that high on the Big East at the moment, but liking in general what we're seeing from Marquette. They have a stud as well, guys. Cam Jones is a monster, almost 20 points per game, 6.5 assists per game against only 1.7 turnovers. That's great. And the dude is very efficient, shooting nearly 50% from the field. So loving what we're seeing from Cam Jones, not loving what we're seeing from this team on the boards. Not a great rebounding team, but against Villanova, that's not a huge concern. Their offense is very good, 78.8 points per game, nothing wrong with that. And they're a very good defensive team as well. In that nice road win there at Seton Hall, they did it as a team, really. They did give up 27 points there to Isaiah Coleman, but we saw very good stuff there from Cam Jones. 19 very efficient points, 4 of 6 from 3. This team shot 10 of 27 from three-point range in general. They did a decent job on the boards. Not a crazy job. They did have a slight edge, though, and they did a great job taking care of the ball and creating a ton of turnovers. So loved what we saw from Marquette on defense in that game, and the odds makers must have loved what they saw also, because Marquette, big favorites in this one, 9.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 142.5. Villanova 10-10 against the spread, 13-6-1 to the over this year. Marquette 9-1 against the spread. They are 11-8 to the under. So this is a bit of a tough spot, guys. Honestly, I thought this would be an easy lean towards Marquette, but that is a lot of points. If this was closer to like 7 points, I'd be much more comfortable. Villanova hasn't been getting blown out recently. They've just been losing, losing at Xavier, at St. John's, for instance. They did lose at St. John's by 12. And is St. John's, as good of a team as Marquette? I would kind of say no, so I guess we do have to lean here towards the Marquette Golden Eagles. They do have some, kind of close wins recently. They got an 8-point win against Georgetown, like an 8-point win against Creighton, so we'll see what they're able to do here. 9.5 points does feel like a little bit much, so I wouldn't fault you too much for going either way on the side in this game. I also think you might want to take a look at that over-under. 142.5 does not feel like a big enough number to me. I think we'll probably get over that one, but really, guys, this is a game I definitely wanted to bring up because it's going to be a very popular one to bet on tonight, but I don't see there being a massive edge on this one either way. If you're begging me for a side, give me Marquette -9.5 and give me that over, but not going to be a game that goes in the pinned comment. Next up, guys, we're looking at Long Island University, the Sharks, going on the road to take on the St. Francis, PA Red Flash. Long Island comes into this game 10-11 on the year, which you would wonder, like, why are we talking about the Long Island Sharks out here? We're into NEC play. Well, guys, we don't care what conference, we don't care what team, we're out there looking for the value. And the Long Island Sharks have been killing it recently, winning 6 in a row, including a 2-point win over Central Connecticut, a 13-point win in this same matchup against St. Francis, PA. Their last time out, they took down Mercyhurst by, 9 points? 9 points. So a very good day out there in general. This, the Sharks team, they're 6-0 in conference play. They've got a monster in Milwaukee Davis, 17.9 points per game, only shooting 40% from the field, but still very reasonable out there for the NEC. Not putting up great season, totals, like their, points per game numbers aren't amazing. Their rebounds per game numbers, stuff like that isn't amazing, but you have to look at the pace of play that they play at, and you have to look at the pace of play, that gets played in this conference in general. It did take Long Island overtime there against Mercyhurst. They got out to a nice 6-point lead at halftime, gave that up by, the end of regulation, but then smashed in overtime, winning the overtime period by 9 points. So very good stuff in the clutch there. We saw them shoot the ball really well from 3. 2 players in the starting lineup scored over 20 points. So just very, very good stuff out there from Long Island. So they've got to feel great surviving that scare and coming into this game against St. Francis, PA, a team they've already beaten once this season. The Red Flash, guys, they've lost 2 in a row. They're coming off of a tough 2-point loss there against Wagner. Wagner, a decent team, obviously way above the standings. In the standings, St. Francis, PA, actually last in the NEC right now. We'll see if that's where they finish, but things have not been great. It has not been necessarily easy sailing. I mean, they got blown out by Central Connecticut. They didn't have a particularly good time the last time they faced the Long Island Sharks, and that lost their last time out against Wagner. So we'll see what they can do in this one. This is a team without a star, guys. Riley Parker leading the way for them, only 12 points per game. That's not awesome. Their season-long numbers do technically look better than better than Long Island, but I'm not that impressed here with St. Francis, guys. They're a very poor rebounding team. They just don't have a whole ton going for them, and their defense isn't very good. And they've got 2 guys across from them. They're really going to have to lock in to try and slow down. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, we see St. Francis, they're getting 1.5 points. We've got a total of 129.5. Long Island, guys, they are a staggering 13-5-1 against spread this season. They're 12-7 to the under. St. Francis, PA, 9-8 against spread, 9-8 to the over. So with that total of 129.5, guys, I'm probably gonna be leaning a bit here towards the under. I think we'll see Long Island, imprint their style, their speed, their tempo they want to play this game. They're going to take that over. They're going to control that. I think we're going to see St. Francis have kind of a rough time with that going on. Guys, definitely give me the Long Island Sharks here, -1.5. I think they find a way to get the win and cover here pretty convincingly. They've only got to win by a bucket. I think they're going to be 3 or 4 possessions better in this matchup than St. Francis, PA. So definitely give me Long Island in this game. This is a play that's definitely going into the pinned comment. Staying in the NEC, guys, we're looking at the Central Connecticut Blue Devils going on the road to take on the Lemoyne Dolphins. Central Connecticut comes into this one 12-6 on the season. They're currently second in the NEC, but they're only 3-2 in conference play, way behind the Long Island Sharks. The Blue Devils come into this game fresh off a desperately needed win. They're a 71-60 win at Fair Dickinson, so they'll definitely take that. Fair Dickinson hasn't been, terrible this season. They're 3-2 in conference play as well. Not an amazing season-long record, that's for sure, and definitely a game that, Central Connecticut, who was supposed to be the best team in the NEC this season, needed to win desperately. I mean, their season-long numbers are not great. They have a fairly solid guard in Jordan Jones. I mean, 12.5 points, 3.5 assists. That's fine. Max Frazier also doing some very positive things there at forward. But yeah, only 5 points per game. It's not that impressive, even if you are, shooting 65% from the field. In their win against Fair Dickinson, guys, we didn't see anything that out of character really for Central Connecticut. I mean, they shot 33% from 3. They did a good job on the boards. They limited the turnovers, so on and so forth. They got that win, but man, not against the toughest opponent. So we'll see what they can do here. Their season-long numbers not really impress me too much, except for those defensive numbers, but they're not a team that plays at a crazy pace. So I'm not really going to overreact too much to that as they go on the road to take on the Lemoyne Dolphins, who are 7-13 this season. They've won 2 out of their last 3, a loss at Chicago State where they got absolutely blown out. So maybe being at home will help a little bit. They did take down Stonehill by 1 point their last time out. So maybe they're in a little bit of a letdown spot here, about to go up against, one of the toughest teams in the NEC. We'll see what they can get done here. I mean, Lemoyne has done a few positive things. They don't really have a superstar player necessarily, but their offense is okay. They're very, very weak defensively, though. Their rebounding, not anything to write home about either. In their win over Stonehill, guys, I mean, they got the win, so I'm not really trying to, talk too bad about them, but they had to shoot 45.8% from three-point range to get a 1-point win over the Stonehill Skyhawks. That's not exactly a great showing, guys. I mean, they limited turnovers, they did a okay job on the boards, all that kind of stuff, but guys, you had to shoot 46% from three to get the win over a terrible team. Like, I don't know. Not super sold here on Lemoyne, guys. Not a team that I'm super excited about. They're getting 6 points in this game. We got a total of 135.5, so that's all good news. But Central Connecticut, they are 11-5 against the spread this season. They're 12-4 to the under, so a big under team. Lemoyne 7-12 against the spread this year, so not very good against the spread. They're also 13-6 to the over, so definitely a game with very mixed trends here towards the over/under. But guys, I'm riding with the favorite once again. I'm starting to feel a little bit chalky here, but I just don't think there's any way that you can justify backing Lemoyne here against Central Connecticut. I mean, the Blue Devils have been a team that really needs to get things going here. They want to be the best team in the NEC. They've got a long way to go if they're going to make that happen, and I don't think they're going to take their foot off the gas here against a pretty weak Lemoyne Dolphins team. Next on the docket, we're looking at Kent State. The Golden Flashes are going on the road to take on the Ohio Bobcats. Kent State 12-6 on the season. They're coming off a desperately needed win there at Toledo. They blew out Toledo in that game, winning by 19 points, but they had lost 2 in a row before that, losing against Miami of Ohio, which obviously, they're a very good team, and losing against Western Michigan, another team that is not quite as good. So definitely a little bit of inconsistency creeping in here for Kent State. They've done some good things this season. They've got a monster in Von Cameron Davis, 15.6 points per game on 45% shooting from the field. That does not necessarily grow on trees, but we've also seen them struggle a little bit on the boards. We've seen them not be the best offensive team necessarily. I mean, coming off an 83-point game on the road, that's very impressive. They shot 63.2% from three-point range in that game, though. Holy cow. How often are you going to see a team do that? I would say not very often in the NCAA. Definitely, a good rebounding day, having a 10 board edge there, but you can't count on them to shoot the ball like that. It was absolutely bonkers. I mean, they're getting 4 out of 5 from 3 and 3 out of 3 from 3 days from guys coming off the bench. Their bench was a combined 7 for 9 from 3. So very crazy stuff from the bench now, and they'll definitely take it, but I don't know if that's something they can necessarily count on over the course of the season. Like I said, not necessarily an elite rebounding team, but a very good team on defense, and they could use some defense here as they take on the Ohio Bobcats, who are 10-8 on the season. They're coming off of back-to-back losses, losing at Akron and at Eastern Michigan. So now they're back at home, obviously playing, Akron, they're a tough team. Eastern Michigan, they're kind of middle of the road, but yeah, Ohio, they're 4-2 in MAC play, so that's something positive. They got AJ Clayton. He's, I would say, monster fits. I mean, 15.5 points per game, nearly 50% from the field. The thing about this Ohio Bobcats team is, guys, they can absolutely score the rock. They're averaging 81.4 points per game. They've got some good assist numbers. The rebounding is a little bit questionable. Obviously not a team that plays a crazy amount of defense, but we do like what we're seeing from the Bobcats at home in general, and we definitely like what we're seeing from them on the offensive end. So some positives there for Ohio for sure. Losing against Eastern Michigan the last time, but now they're back at home, so that helps as well. Looking at the numbers here, Ohio, they're 2.5-point favorites. We got a total of 145.5. Kent State 9-6-1 against the spread. They are 12-4 to the under. Ohio 5-12 against the spread this season. They are 12-4-1 to the over. So this is a real kind of Sophie's choice situation here, guys. I'm going to be taking Ohio, though, at home, guys. We've got Kent State here playing in a back-to-back road spot. So they just played at Toledo. Now they got to play at Ohio. And I like what we're seeing from Ohio, offensively. I think they could be, they have the potential to just straight up outscore Kent State. I would say there's a very good chance they might have the best player on the floor there in AJ Clayton also, and I just like this offense enough that I think Ohio is the side we want to be on. In terms of that over-under of 145.5, varying trends, obviously, I'm going to lean just slightly towards that under 145.5, but definitely not an over-under play that's going in the pinned comment. Now, guys, let's get into the good stuff. We've got some A10 play coming up. We've got some power conference play coming up. So let's go ahead and dive into the St. Joseph Hawks going on the road to take on the Dayton Flyers. St. Joseph's comes into this game 12-7 on the season. They're fresh off a nice 78-61 win at Davidson. So a nice bounce back after getting, kind of worked there by VCU. So now they've got another, pretty tough test on deck. Dayton has not been as good as we expected them to be this season. Obviously, I mean, they're currently sitting in the middle of the pack there in the A10, but they are still a very dangerous team. So definitely going to be a big, I'm not going to say quite step-up spot there for St. Joseph's, but we've seen good stuff from them in general. I mean, Brown leading the way for them, 16.1 points and 5.1 assists per per game. Very good stuff there. This is a decent rebounding team. They play some defense. Their offense isn't necessarily elite, but I mean, coming off of a 78-point road game, that's not bad. I mean, we did see good stuff from Brown in that one. He put up his 20 points. That's nice to see. As a team, St. Joseph shot 40.7% from three. Are they going to be able to do that against a team like Dayton, though? That's going to be a little bit tougher than doing it against a team like Davidson. They also had a nice rebounding edge, a 40-32 rebounding edge. So a lot of things pointed in the right direction for St. Joseph's there on the road against Davidson, but now they're going to be in a back-to-back road spot going on the road to take on the Dayton Flyers, who are 13-6 on the season. This is a team that was supposed to absolutely roll through this conference, and that has not been the case. They have won 2 in a row, taking down Loyola Chicago by 2, and then blowing out Duquesne, guys. They went on the road at Duquesne and won 82-62. So maybe Dayton, maybe the Flyers are figuring things out here a little bit. I mean, they're supposed to be a team at the top of the standings in this conference. That is not what is happening. They have, decent guys out there, Nate Santos, Malaki Smith. Like, they've got some pieces for sure, but the season-long numbers just aren't adding up. They're not a very good rebounding team so far this year. Their defense is decent, but not necessarily the super elite level we've grown accustomed to seeing. They've got great ball movement. Their offense puts up points, all that kind of stuff, but guys, it just hasn't necessarily been easy sailing here for Dayton. So they've got work to do. They are at home here, though, and they're playing against the St. Joseph team that's playing on a back-to-back road spot. So, guys, St. Joseph's 8-11 against the spread, 10-9 to the under. Dayton 9-9 against the spread, 13-5 to the over. I'd be shading towards that over 143.5 in this game. I think that's some pretty reasonable value. You could get on that if you wanted, but I like Dayton here at -5.5. They're catching St. Joseph's on a back-to-back road spot. Dayton has to keep turning things on here. They've got to continue to play well if they want to end up, playing in. You want to be in a good spot when conference tournament play starts. You pretty much wasted all of your chances to get, big resume building wins. I mean, they did beat Marquette. They did also beat UConn, but that Marquette win still looks good. That UConn win has lost a little bit of its luster. This is a team that held, stuck right there with Iowa State. I don't think they're going to have trouble with St. Joseph's here. Give me Dayton -5.5. This could go right in the pinned comment. Next up, guys, we got the biggest game of the night. We got the number 21 Michigan Wolverines going on the road to take on number 11 Purdue in a Big Ten showdown. The Wolverines having a good time out there, guys. 14-4 on the season. They're coming off a nice 4-point win against Northwestern. Obviously, a very, very close win, but a win nonetheless over a Northwestern team that's been a little bit better than maybe some people have thought. We did see this, that was a big bounce back spot after a tough loss at Minnesota, a team that's been very bad. So definitely work still to do, things still to prove here for the Michigan Wolverines. They've got some good wins on the resume. I mean, a nice win over UCLA. They didn't get the job done against Oklahoma, but they did beat Wisconsin. They beat Xavier. So they've done some good stuff this season. Are they going to be able to continue that, though? Golden guys averaging 16.4 points per game while shooting nearly 65% from the field. That's pretty much killing it. This is an elite offense, 84.6 points per game. That's 17th in the NCAA. They're a decent defensive team as well, giving up under 70 per game. Their offense is just amazing, guys. The ball movement is insane. 18 assists per game. That's 14th in college basketball, and they're also a top 50 rebounding team. So liking a lot of what we're seeing from Michigan here, guys. Although they did just play a very, very close game against Northwestern. Golden had 31 points in that one. He's looking borderline unstoppable, but they couldn't really stop Northwestern. I mean, the Wildcats had 3 starters score at least 19 points in this game. So we'll see what we get out of Michigan in this one. They did only shoot 25% from 3 in that win, so they could definitely do better. Just needing overtime to beat Northwestern when you're the Michigan Wolverines and you're playing at home doesn't look amazing. So we'll see what they can do here going on the road to take on the Purdue Boilermakers, who are 15-5 on the year. They're coming off a tough 73-70 loss there at home against Ohio State. It was a big letdown spot for Purdue. They had just knocked off number 13 Oregon in Oregon, so it's a little bit tough to come back and then have to play Ohio State, and just things did not quite work out in that one. We do love what we're seeing from Trey Kaufman-Renn, 18.3 points per game, very, very dominant stuff there. Braden Smith, one of the best point guards in the nation, maybe the best point guard in the nation, to be honest, when you're looking at an overall player. 15 points per game, nearly 9 assists per game as well. Like, that is insane work. This is a very good offensive team. The rebounding is really their only main weakness. They play some very good defense as well against Ohio State, guys. In that loss, we saw Kaufman-Renn put up 26 points. He did what he could. He was very efficient as well. We see Purdue as not a three-point shooting team anymore, guys. They're only 3 of 9 from deep in that game. The rebounding was a little bit of a problem. They got slightly out-rebounded. They didn't turn the ball over too much. It was just a game that kind of came down to the last possession. And Purdue also, guys, they played a terrible second half. So they're going to be looking to bounce back here in a big way. They're going to be pretty ticked off, if you ask me. Guys, looking at the numbers here, Purdue -4.5 or 3.5. Both numbers are very easy to find out there. We've got a total of 151.5. Michigan 11-7 against the spread, 7-7 to the over. Purdue 11-9 against the spread, and they are 11-9 to the over as well. So right off the bat, guys, I think over 151.5 is very, very live in this game. I mean, these two teams combined clearly average way more points than that. So I'm going to be on the over in this one for sure. I do worry a little bit about, these teams being capable of playing defense. I don't know if it'll really happen in this one, but I'm taking the over. I'm also taking Purdue here at -3.5 in a big bounce back spot. I love Purdue here. I think they're going to get the job done against a Michigan team that is coming off a win, a very close win, and they've had back-to-back, not amazing showings really. So I think we'll see Michigan struggle a little bit here. I think they're being overvalued. I think Purdue's being a bit undervalued. Give me the Boilermakers at -3.5. Another play that could definitely end up in the pinned comment. Next up, guys, we got the St. Bonaventure Bonnies going on the road to take on the VCU Rams. St. Bonaventure, they've lost 2 in a row. They lost at Duquesne, so that's a pretty mediocre loss right there. I mean, Duquesne, not as bad as they've been in years past, but that's definitely not a loss that's going to feel good. And then they lost their last time out at home. They were against George Mason, and they lost that game 75-62. So George Mason so far has been the best team in the A-10. So that loss doesn't necessarily look terrible, but not in love with what we're seeing from the Bonnies right now. I mean, they went on a pretty good run there. They do have a win over VCU already this season, so that's nice. They won by 2 points at home against VCU, but now they've got to go on the road. So we'll see what Melvin Council Jr. can do in this game. He's averaging nearly 15 points and 4 assists per game, so that's nice, but that's not helping the rebounding situation, guys. This is not a very good rebounding team. Their defense is good. Their offense is acceptable, but the ball movement does bother me. Their assist numbers are really, really low, close to 400th in the nation. So definitely need to find a way to spread the rock around and get everybody involved out there. But we'll see what St. Bonaventure can do in this one. I don't think they're a terrible team, and they're going on the road here to take on the VCU Rams, who are 15-4 this season. They're currently sitting tied for first, or almost tied for first. They're 5-1 in A10 play. They've got they're tied for the most wins in the A10, so that's something. They're coming off another win. They've won 5 in a row. They just demolished Rhode Island. Got the win there, and there's back-to-back road spots, so that's pretty nice. We love what we're seeing from this team kind of across the board. Max Shugla's a monster out there. This is a top 100 offensive team. They're also very, very good on the boards. They're a very good rebounding team as well, so those are all things that could definitely cause some problems there for the Bonnies, but this is a big, big number out there, so we're a little bit concerned about that. I mean, obviously loving what we've seen from this VCU team lately, but are they really going to blow out St. Bonaventure by 13 points? That's where the line's at right now, guys. It's VCU -12. We got a total of 135.5. St. Bonaventure, guys, they are 14-5 against the spread this season. That is a pretty freaking good number against the spread. They're 10-9 to the under as well. VCU 11-7 against the spread, and they're a 500 over/under team. Guys, this is too many points. Give me St. Bonaventure here. We're just going to kind of close our eyes and take it. Do I think they're going to win this game straight up? I do not. But do I think they have a great chance to keep things very close here? I certainly do. They are not playing in a back-to-back road spot or anything like that. We see, VCU coming off of a blowout win, and they've won 5 in a row. So this is a chance for us to sell high here on the VCU Rams. So definitely give me St. Bonaventure in the points. This is a big underdog that has a great chance to end up in that pinned comment. Moving right along here, guys, we're looking at the Penn State Nittany Lions going on the road to take on Iowa. Penn State comes in this game fresh off a desperately needed 80-72 win at home against Rutgers. They immediately have to turn around and go on the road, which hasn't necessarily been the friendliest thing. They've played a murderer's row of opponents recently, though, guys. They won in that 4-game losing streak, but those losses were a 6-point loss against Indiana, a blowout loss at Illinois, a 1-point loss against Oregon, and a 5-point loss there at Michigan State. So it's not like Penn State's been giving up and just getting destroyed. Like, they're playing hard, they're trying, but they're keeping it close, but it's just not quite working out there for them at the end. This is a very good offensive team, guys. They're 19th in the nation, scoring nearly 85 points per game. Their assist numbers are excellent. Their defense is even very good. Rebounding is really where the squad is having its problems. I mean, they've got a monster in Ace Baldwin Jr. running the offense out there. Almost 15 points per game. 8.1 assists per game. Like, that is crazy, crazy work. Very good stuff from him. So looking to see if they can, keep up what they had going against Rutgers. I mean, it was pretty good out there. Ace Baldwin Jr., not very efficient, only 6 of 16 from the field, but had 22 points thanks to his ability to get to the line. We saw, pretty awesome three-point shooting there from Penn State, guys. 47.6% from 3. They got destroyed on the boards, and that is a big concern here as they go on the road to take on the Iowa Hawkeyes, who are 12-7 this season, guys. They're coming off a 3rd straight loss. They just lost 72-67 against Minnesota. Yeah, you're not supposed to be losing games to Minnesota this season in the Big Ten, but this is a tough conference, guys. You take your foot off the gas even a little bit, things are probably not going to go great. That was also their first game back after being out in California playing USC and UCLA. neither one of those games went great either. So Iowa definitely desperately in search of, something positive here. I mean, Owen Freeman, he's a monster. Brock Harding, very good as well. This is one of the best offensive teams in the nation. The fourth most points per game, scoring 87.3 per. They also are a very good assist team. No major shock there. The defense, though, not very good, and the rebounding is pretty atrocious, which, I mean, going against a Penn State team that's not, not necessarily, incredible on the boards, maybe that's not the biggest deal. So we'll see how things trend in this one, guys. I mean, Iowa, they're 2.5-point favorites. We've got a total here of 168.5, so a very, very big number. Penn State, 9-10 against the spread, 10-8-1 to the under. Iowa, 9-10 against the spread, and 12-7 to the over. So, guys, this is a little bit of a tricky one. I don't really have a great lean on the side, but I do think this is a spot, despite it being a pretty big number, you might want to side towards that over 168.5. I think we'll see plenty of offense in this game. Neither defense really impresses me, and both offenses can really go. They're more than willing to get up and down the floor. So give me a look at the over. If you're begging me for a side on this game, probably give me the desperate Iowa Hawkeyes at home, but not a play that's going in the pin comment either way. Last but not least, guys, we've got the nightcap. We've got the UCLA Bruins going on the road to take on the Washington Huskies. UCLA comes into this game 13-6 on the year. They're fresh off of a couple of nice wins. They beat Iowa, and then they followed that up with a nice 2-point win. So it was a close game, but a win nevertheless against number 18 Wisconsin, winning that game 85-83. So very good stuff. They snapped the Badgers' 7-game winning streak. So UCLA doing some positive stuff out there. They've got some good pieces. They've been a little bit inconsistent. I mean, they did just go on a 4-game losing streak, losing at Nebraska, against Michigan, at Maryland, and at Rutgers. So not the easiest stretch. They've bounced back with some wins here. They get to go on the road again in this one, though, guys. They've just got to go to Washington. So that's not quite as, depressing as having to go to the Midwest or anything like that. It's not quite as cold either, you wouldn't think. So I expect the Bruins to feel a little bit at home here. They're not an amazing rebounding team. They're not an amazing offensive team either. So they've got things to work on here as they go on the road to take on the Washington Huskies, who are 10-9 on the season. They've lost 5 in a row now. A very close game against Illinois, a blowout at Michigan State. At Michigan, they got blown out as well. They played a competitive but not that close game against Purdue, and then they just went on the road their last time out against Oregon and ended up losing 82-71. So this whole situation, guys, bringing in great Asabora and a new coach and all that stuff has not gone amazing. He's only averaging 15.3 points per game, 3.5 assists per game. Like, that's not great. This is a very, very bad rebounding team. Their offense isn't good. Their defense isn't very good. Like, I just don't have a lot of positive things to say about Washington at this point. Like, it's not going according to plan. They are playing at home in this one, so that's something. They're going up against a road-tested, but not necessarily that much road success UCLA team, obviously. So this is a bit of a weird spot. In general, guys, I mean, the line here is at 4.5 or 5 for Washington. We've got a total of 138.5. No major trends either way. I mean, UCLA 10-9 against the spread, 10-9 to the under. Washington, they're 9-9 against spread. They're also 9-9 to the over/under. So not a whole lot to go off of there. I'm going to be leaning here towards the UCLA Bruins on the road at -4.5. I think they're a pretty good team. I think they've had a bit of a rough time on the road, though, so that does make me a little bit leery. This is not a play that's going to go in the pinned comment or anywhere near my betting slip without a lot more research being done. So definitely check that pinned comment and, keep updated, but I don't think you're going to see UCLA in there unless, we find some very, very interesting information to change our minds. So, guys, that's all we have for tonight, guys. That's all the games we're looking at for today. Is a pretty short slate. It was also a pretty short slate out there for the NBA. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Please hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Both of those things really help this channel and these videos get promoted out there to more people. Definitely click on the link in the description. Head over to stumpthespread.com. Get on that free email list. We'll be having premium NCAA basketball picks probably going up tonight, maybe even NBA too, depending on what kind of injury news we have. It's a pretty short NBA slate, but we'll have hockey picks coming out as soon as goalies are confirmed and stuff like that. So we get the picks out to you as early as we can at stumpthespread.com, but we also don't want to rush it before we have all the information. I'm sure you guys can appreciate that. So thanks for watching. Click the link in the description, and we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.